Good evening. Welcome to THFC Till I Die. Very good evening to you all. We're kicking off with the FA Cup. We've got Portsmouth in the FA Cup tomorrow, following our fantastic victory against Crystal Palace where we trounced them 4-0. First things first, a bit of housekeeping. We thank our sponsor, Nick Coupland. What a great gentleman he is, sponsoring our channel and supporting us in every way he can. And also, as you can see, going along the bottom there, we're looking for lots of super chats tonight. Obviously, we know times are hard, but every little penny supporting our channel goes a long way, and we do appreciate it. And also the memberships, get your memberships in now, quick and fast. And then we do appreciate it, guys and girls. We want to give you the best show with the best equipment. We're trying to do our best by you guys as well. So Mia, you're in co-hosting tonight. What are you looking forward to with the FA Cup game against Portsmouth? What are your views on that?
I'm just looking forward to the game overall because the FA Cup's obviously one of those things. It's quite an exciting thing, isn't it? The FA Cup, and historically, it's been going for so many years, and I do find it's quite an exciting cup to have because of the teams that are in it. Sometimes some unexpected results happen, so it can be quite an exciting cup. To be fair, I do like it.
Yeah, throughout the years, you've seen lots of cup upsets. From my 60 years of watching football, all right, I was only a little baby, but I remember being 3 and watching the FA Cup with my dad and how romantic it was and what euphoria it brings to the fans as well. Even now, when Champions League has taken over a little bit in terms of the money winning and the money spinning. The FA Cup to me is very special because I'll never forget that day when Ricky Villa scored that fantastic goal. I was only 19 years old. But you know what? I think we've got a very good chance this season. We've got as good a chance as any other club. And we are a cup team. We've proven that throughout the years. But we haven't won it since 1991, Mia. Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think we haven't won it since 1991? What's going wrong?
Do you know what? There's been so many different factors, isn't there? Like when it comes to cup games, like I said, you never know. It's a knockout cup, so you can never know what's going to happen and the upsets that might happen. So I think that it's it is one of those things that it can happen where you get knocked out surprisingly or whatever. So I think that it's not as straightforward, is it? It's not a straightforward cup to win, although obviously the scumbags down the road have won it quite a lot.
Yeah,
they won't talk about that.
I mean, up to 1991, we'd won it 8 times and we were the record holders. And then it went all pear-shaped from there. And then Arsenal have won it 14 times, unfortunately, the scum down the road. What are they doing right that we're doing wrong? There's not much between the teams.
It is a bit of luck. I think sometimes it is just a bit of luck. As I said, because it's a knockout game, it's just like you do have to have a little bit of luck with it as well. I think it isn't all necessarily like, you played for so many games fantastically, because you can play really well one game and get through, So I do think that.
And we have Paul Beattie in the team. I love this guy. He's such a fantastic Aussie. And he's put in Villa and still Ricky Villa. What an amazing run. And he scores. Yeah, those are famous words by John Motson, I believe. And Robertson Galvin to Villa. Bang. Just those memories will stick in my mind forever, because I was only 19 at the time as well. And it's a romantic cup to win. I find Spurs need to push on there and actually win some trophies. We've been starved of trophies for 15 years now. It's time to win one. And what a better way to start with the FA Cup. Now, who do you think should be rested? You think who should be rested for this?
It's Joe. What I think he's going to go one of two ways. I think he's either going to rest the players, and then they can obviously be brought on if we need them. Or what I think he might do is play the players, get the job done, and then rest them. I think that there's two ways of sort of going about the game, because I feel like he'll want to put out a strong team, because I think he'll know how important it is, and he won't want to obviously put a weakened team out. So I feel like initially, I feel like he's not going to rest Kane. I think he's going to let Kane do the job and then see if then we can then take Kane off after a little while. Personally, that's what I think he might do.
I've not seen the team used today because I was out and about with my daughter, but I believe that the front three are going to be playing, aren't they? So, right, so we've got a few people in the chat already. Shall we bring our first guest in?
Yeah, did you want to say a quick hello to... Oh, okay then.
You told me, huh?
Oh no, I was going to say a quick hello to everybody first, but that's fine.
Yeah, big hello to everybody in the chat. Obviously, we've got Paul. Paul's waiting to be talking to us. So, Paul, lovely to see you again. I saw you tonight as well. So, Paul, what are your thoughts on the FA Cup? What's your first memory of the FA Cup, and how do you think the game's going to go tomorrow?
Well, you know, actually, my first FA Cup memory was 78, and it was Arsenal getting beaten by Ipswich. And so 78, it was before June, so I would have been 5 years old. And who knows, if Arsenal had won that, I might be, you know how the Harry Potter sorting hat goes. It could have gone the other way for me. So well done, Ipswich. Thank you. You saved me from a life of being, less of a human being, really. So that was my first memory. But I'm with you, Ellie, man. That 1981 replay was, that was the stuff of dreams. It was the centenary FA Cup, so there was extra hoo-ha, over it being the 100th FA Cup, and they put on such a show. It was that goal, man. That Graham Roberts doing that tackle on McKenzie, then out to Galvin, and out Galvin just head down, flying up, and Spurs have got two to his right, but Galvin's going on his own. And then he just kicks it into Villiers, and still Ricky Villiers. What an amazing run. And he scores. What a fantastic goal. Brilliant.
You're much better than John Watson, I must say, Paul. Much more animated. I mean, he was animated, I must admit, but I think you're winning that one. So I find the FA Cup is one of those things where you have to win 6 games, I believe. You've got the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, the semi-final and the final. So you only have to be good for 6 games.
Sorry, man. My audio is cutting out. I'll have to go out and come back in. Sorry, man.
All right, no worries. Mia, would you like to read out some of the chat while we're here? While Paul's getting ready.
No worries.
Yeah.
Let's go from the... I'm trying to go back up we've read Paul's one. So we're going to show Corey Boy. Says, hi all, how we doing? Hey, Corey Boy. We've got him in the back as well, so he'll be coming on.
Nice to see you.
Say. Further down, we've got Derek. He says, evening Ellie, Coys, always.
Yeah,
we've got David Clark. Hello from Leicester. Won't be able to watch your midday podcast in future because I'll be volunteering at my local hospital and as a meet and greet volunteer. Oh, David, that's a lovely thing to be able to do. I love that. Big up yourself for doing that. Giving up the time for people in hospitals. So I very much like that. That's a lovely thing to do.
Commendable.
And then we've got Everton are losing to Man United 2-1. The score is at the moment. And then we've got
1967.
Hold on a minute. Why is this one not showing? I'm clicking on it. But it's not showing up. But okay.
Read it if you like.
My computer decided not to work.
1967.
Yeah, it's not showing for me for some reason.
Yeah, we've got a few
Yeah,
technical
David
issues.
Clark. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my computer. It showed the other ones, but didn't decide to show that one. Sorry, David. It obviously didn't like that one.
We've got a few people in the
But
chat.
Paul's back.
That's it. David Clark, 1967, Frank Saul and Jimmy Robertson against Chelsea. Yeah, we beat them in the Cockney Derby. The FA Cup is ours. Come on. Woo!
It's our cup, isn't it? What's going on in the world? It's our cup. Like when I was a kid, it felt like we won it every year.
That's right, Paul. You know, it was like our cup, wasn't it? It was like our name was on it, you know. And we done so well when we didn't even win it as well. We kept on playing some beautiful football in the FA Cup. It was like we turned it on. When the FA Cup draw came up, I was the first one there to listen to the FA Cup third round draw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Paul?
It's music, man, because like this time of year, it's, you know, we've done Christmas, we've done New Year, it's all a bit like down, it's winter, the league is a slog, you know, the league is a grind, and then you've got this little bit of magic that starts in January that any footballer in England can win, any of them, from a pub team up to, you know, the big boys. There's something just magical about it. I love it. I love the FA Cup. I don't care, you know, if people don't think it's as prestigious or whatever. Not to me. I love it. It's exciting. I'm really, really excited about tonight's game.
Yeah, and the history behind it as well. And we lost to, remember we lost to Harry Redknapp's Portsmouth, didn't we? In the FA Cup final. That's very disappointing, but we won't touch on that because that was a disappointing day. But how do you see the game going tomorrow, Paul?
Oh, sorry, it's tonight for me. In fact, even in Sydney today, in the middle of summer, it's a crappy day. It's raining and drizzling, so it's real FA Cup third round weather here as well. I just hope we go out and smash them. I just want to smash them. I just want a really good cup performance. Now I don't know what sort of weight they'll put on the because we've got Arsenal coming up. I did ask them. I was on a chat thing yesterday or the day before, and I asked Spurs fan, "Oh, you were there, Ellie?"
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Would you rather win through to the next round of the FA Cup or beat Arsenal? And I understand I'm completely on my own on this, but I want to get through to the next round of the FA Cup. I just want to keep that dream alive. In my mind, you know, we play Arsenal twice a year. Don't get me wrong, I hate losing to them, but to be out of the FA Cup, that means our only hope of silverware this year is the Champions League. I mean, come on, you know.
That's going to be a tough cookie to crack. But you know what? We got to
then.
Go on, Mia.
But then, if we take points off of he's gone.
We've lost him.
I was going to say if we take points off of them, then that means they might not win the Premier League, and them not winning the Premier League to me is more important than us winning the FA Cup. Because I couldn't stand them winning the FA. I couldn't stand them winning the Prem. Because if they win the Prem and we win the FA Cup, it's just gonna taint that FA Cup for me forever. So I'd rather take points off of them and them not win the Premier League.
But then again, we will play them in the Charity Shield.
That's it.
Do you know what? It's a bit of 50-50, isn't it? You want to beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
You also want to win the cup. It'd be good if we could do both.
Yeah.
You know, why pick?
Of course.
Yeah. So
it'd be nice if I don't know if Harry Kane will play tonight, but maybe if he could get 2 goals, that would set. I mean, wouldn't that set up a great match against Arsenal too? Yeah, for Harry's chance to equal and maybe better Jimmy Greaves' record. I mean, that's an astonishing career.
You know, I think Harry's saving those 2 or 3 goals versus the Arsenal. You know, it'd be nice. It'd be nice for him to break the record per se. But I think, how do you see the lineup being? What because the lineup hasn't been announced fully yet, has it? I believe.
Like before the Crystal Palace game and that lineup came out, I just, you know, my head fell. I thought, we're going to get worse here, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, the difference in the Hill between him playing against Harris and the Aston Villa game is great, you know. So I mean, he's got to be in the team. I don't know other youngsters. I mean, Middlestar is worth a shout. I think Pepe had a decent World Cup as well. He's got a bit of class about him. So I'd like to see
We're
more of
having
him.
trouble, Paul. We're having trouble hearing you. Do you want to log in and log back out again?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Come here, man.
No, it's cleared up now for some reason. Did you hear that, Mia?
That's what happens when it was really like sounded underwater. But that's what happens when you come from the future, because he's technically from the future.
He is. So Dermatron in the chat saying I'm buzzing. Harry Kane, the North London Derby killers. Come on, you Spurs. Dermatron again. Big up KVP in the chat. The order is right. Here we go. Right, let's go back to the chat. Oh, Paul's back. Lovely. Can you hear us well, Paul?
Yeah, the problem's on my end. Sometimes when I do this, after a few minutes, it all goes crappy on my phone. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We forgive
I
you.
just said I said, Paul, that's what happens when you come from the future.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I'll be able to tell you the result before it happens if you want. Put some bets on.
Yeah. So, do you feel if we get through this third round, would you like to get a big club, or would you like to get a smaller club and then progress? What's your take on that?
Oh, it's interesting, that, isn't it? I think, getting big clubs. I mean, and this is, I'm assuming like we go on to win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
You want your road to have a couple of big scalps in it, I guess. I don't care. I think, if it's a year where your name is written on the cup, it doesn't matter who you draw. It's the same for any team that wins the FA Cup. They'll scrape through against little teams or they'll thrash big teams, but it's almost like destiny. That's your year. You will win the cup. So I don't really mind, to be honest. Getting a big team might be an advantage, because if it's the likes of Man City or it's Arsenal or whoever, they're going to be focused more on the Premier League anyway. So that might give us an easier run. Sometimes these little clubs, it's their game of the year. Let's face it, they're up for it. No matter who you're playing in the FA Cup, they're going to give you a game. So I don't know. Swings and roundabouts both ways, Ellie.
Yeah, and David Clark makes a good point here. He says that that Portsmouth sacked their manager.
Yeah.
So basically, they're in disarray at the moment. So do you think that gives us a better chance, Paul?
Well, it could do. But maybe the players want to save a bit of face at Portsmouth as well. I mean, where are they in the championships? Are they like mid-table, or are they struggling? I haven't really seen what they're doing. But FA Cup form goes out the window. It really does. Yeah. I've seen Spurs beat huge teams in the FA Cup, and then I also remember miserable days like when I went to see them lose to Port Vale in 1988 in 2-1. It was a horrible day. So, it's like the North London Derby. Form, you can forget form and statistics and all that rubbish. It's who's there, who turns up on the day.
If I remember rightly, we beat them in the 1982 FA Cup semi-final. Is that correct? Or was it we played them in the quarter-final in 81? I can't remember, because I know we played them in the semi-final. I'm sure we played them in the semi-final when we beat them to get to the final against QPR, I think.
Can't remember, man.
Correct. Do you know what? My memory goes, but all that fixes in my memory is that 1981 FA Cup final, because that was fabulous. Yeah.
It's funny, like when I think back when I think back on when I used to go to White Hart Lane, I find it difficult to remember specific matches and things. What I remember more than anything is the atmosphere and the feeling of the place. And And if I think of players that I've seen, I know what that player was like. I've got to, I know, you get attached with players, but actual results and games, I'm a bit cloudy on, really.
That's it.
But
Philip
the 81
cleared it up for us anyway, Paul. He said that 1990-91, fifth round away, we beat Portsmouth away. That was the Gaza year. Remember when he basically scored in every round, didn't he?
That was crazy. That was crazy. That because Arsenal were all over us. Like from, I'd say maybe 86 to definitely till past 91. Arsenal we just couldn't beat the bloody gum, and that 91 semi-final was just a bolt out of the blue. I wasn't, that was a result I wasn't expecting. It was amazing.
Yeah, we got our sponsor Nick Copeland saying hi. Would you like to add to that at all?
Add to what? So what Nick has said, or what Paul has said?
Nick is just saying hi to us all.
Hello.
Oh yes, hello to Nick. Thank you very much for the obviously sponsoring. We appreciate it very, very much.
And Dermot and THFC Till I Die. Hi Nick, hope you are all well. Wilton McDonald's, he's a regular in here, Paul. I would like to see Sarr and Gill start Harry for 50 to 60 minutes, 4 to 5 up, rest for the Arsenal game. Yeah, I agree. Wilton, that's a fair point, isn't it, Mia?
Yeah, no, I think Hill will start anyway because we haven't got anybody in that position to start anyway. So that's obviously, I think, a bit of a given. And Sarr, I would love to see him start. I think it'd be good for him to start a game and see how he gets on with a start instead of just coming on as a sub. And I think he's good. I do quite like him. So I'll be interested to see how he gets on from starting from the beginning of the game.
Yeah. And we see THSC Till I Die cleared up the Portsmouth one again. Portsmouth are 12th in the league. One was that 31 points from 22 games, scored 29, conceded 27. So
wow,
there we go. That's it. That's the answer to your question, Paul. There.
Okay.
So to wrap it up, Paul, what would you like to see tomorrow? What sort of style of play would you like? Because we tend to play different in the FA Cup than we do in the league. Would you like to see the same sort of spirited, open play that we normally play in cup competitions?
Yeah, if we could do what we did at Crystal Palace, barring about the last 20 minutes of the first half, I thought we were excellent. I thought we were really entertaining. There were times where it looked like players knew where they were. Every pass was just crisp into space. I thought that was a really nice style that we played. So if we played like that again, and if Hill has a good game, I'm starting to get excited about old Hill. He's definitely got ability. He can definitely see the game. And, I hear people about, he's got to bulk up, and maybe that's true. But football's a wide church, isn't it? You don't have to be 6'5" and built like a brick outhouse to play football.
No.
I think of, Ozzy Ardiles. He was a little guy, but he's tenacious as all hell. I'm not saying Brian Hill is Ozzy Ardiles by any means, but he's got to find out how he can play his game of football within his limitations, and he's on his way. So that's great.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What do you think about Paul's comment there, Mia?
Or you could think of him more of like a Gareth Bale, because when Gareth Bale first came to us, he was very skinny and slight, wasn't he? And he built himself up a bit more and grew into his body a little bit, because boys sometimes take a little bit longer, don't they, as well? Like if they're a bit slight, to get that bit of build. And I do think he needs a little bit of that, because I do think he was pushed off the ball slightly easily. And I think that he needs that little bit maybe more to him, because he is a bit of a broomstick at the moment, let's be honest. And I do think that little bit of more bulk would do him good. Not loads, but just that little bit. Like, he can come to your house or my house and we can feed him some Greek food, get him to eat a bit more. Maybe some meat, some bread.
Maybe he needs to hang out with Patrick Vieira a bit, because that guy, when he was managing Palace the other day, he looks like he just goes to the pub and says, I'd like a pint of Bisto, please. So maybe he should just get some recipes from Vieira. He's looking rough.
He was always a physical player, Vieira. I remember him playing for the Arsenal. Bloody hell, was he hard to knock off the ball. But the thing is, Brian Hill, I believe he will bulk up a little bit. I think he's got to that age where he stopped growing, but you can always bulk up your body. Even if you stop growing height-wise, you can build yourself up. So I meant that was a good point about Gareth Bale. He was a boy one day, and then he arose and he became a man, and his body had changed. It was like he'd morphed into a Hercules, you know. There you go. There's another Greek god.
You look at even Harry Kane. Like every year, he just seems to get bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah, he does. He bulks up because he works on it. If you want to do well in this league, you've got to be physical, right? Because they'll lock you off the ball. You can have all the skill in the world, all right, but if you haven't got the physicality, you're not going to last the 90 minutes. And it's showing with Hill. He doesn't last 90 minutes, or Conte doesn't trust him to last the 90 minutes. So he pulls him off either 50-ish, 60th minute. So he obviously sees the limitations on the physicality side, but he can see that he's adding something to the team with his movement and the way he plays is very intelligent because he'll create space for other players as well, wouldn't he, Paul?
Yeah, well, he was really involved in 3 of the goals against Palace. You know, he was an integral part.
He was.
And I did laugh at one point where he shoved the Palace player over. It's like, get in there, Brian. He's brilliant.
Come on, give it back because he's trying his best, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I was bringing up. Ozzy Ardiles, because something that Ozzy would always do, man. If he lost the ball, he was just, for all his fancy flicks and touches, he had such fire in his belly, Ozzy did, He would never give up, never let them get the ball off him, And Hill was doing that. If he lost the ball, he was trying to get it back straight away, much more so than Son does. Son, he loses the ball and it's a bit half-assed him getting it back sometimes. But Hill was, I think if you could give someone a place to play just on attitude, I think Hill's deserved it. But he's got to mature a bit. That's the thing. Yeah. But it's a good game for him to have a chance.
Sorry about that, Paul.
We've got a couple more questions. We've got a couple more questions to ask Paul, and I thought we'll obviously get through them. So your opinion, obviously, Paul, on transfers. Obviously, we've been linked to so many different players at the moment, but the biggest one that we've obviously been talking about is Pedro Porro, and obviously the possibility of Edwards coming back again. So what's your thoughts on that?
Right, well, Graham, I heard, I believe, and I might have got the player wrong here, but I think it was an interview with Graham Roberts, and I might have this totally wrong, but what I remember, he seemed to let slip about a young Spurs talent that we sold because of his attitude, and it was Marcus Edwards. So I don't want him back, if that's the case. Yeah. And I don't think he's good enough. I know he did all right in Lisbon against us, but I don't think he's good enough. And it was the old Porro. Now look, as far as transfers go, I don't really follow the news much on that because it just gives me a nosebleed. So long as we buy who Conte wants, I don't care. And if Conte wants Porro, who is a player I don't know anything about, to be honest, but if Conte wants him, then I don't know why we are stuffing around with €5 million. We know the price. He's got a sell clause. We have to sell if we pay, is it 40 or 45? Why are we going in there and haggling? If you want him, get him. That's it. But if Conte doesn't want him, don't go anywhere near him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you. I'm happy as long as Conte's happy, then I'm happy. That's how I see the transfer. If I'm on it, the transfers. If I'm honest. Obviously, what do you think about Son's comments about his mask? Because obviously he's made a comment, hasn't he, about how he doesn't like wearing it, but his family are quite concerned about him. So obviously he wants to keep it on because it affects his vision and his line of sight when he wears it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it must be annoying, to wear that. I didn't hear his comments, but I mean, we saw it in the game against Villa, where out of frustration he just took the mask off. And maybe, while I was watching it, I was hoping that maybe it's like a reverse superhero thing. He takes off his mask and he becomes Batman or something. But it didn't quite happen. I mean, it must play on his mind. It must play on his mind with his mask off. Is he going to get injured again? It was a bad old knock he took. I guess that just takes time for him to build his confidence up out of it, mask or no mask, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I find the mask
it.
is
So
one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things that you have to wear to protect your face. But Harry Kane famously did it as well, didn't he? When he scored against Arsenal, if we all recall, he threw it off.
In the World Cup, Gvardiol for Croatia was wearing a mask all the time, and he was amazing. Like one transfer, if we bought Gvardiol, then I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. But I mean, there is a 50% improvement in Eric Dyer actually, because like when he hoofed the ball like a couple of games ago, it went out for a corner. At least in the last game when he hoofed it, it went straight up in the air. So all we've got to do is just get him tilting that way a bit to get him hoofing it up the pitch instead of in the air or back towards the goal line. That'd be all right.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Paul. You've been a fantastic guest.
Sorry about the audio problems there. That's my end, not yours. But let's get all excited, eh? You know, it's the FA Cup.
It's the FA Cup. Come on.
It's magic, man. It's magic.
Have you got a score? Have you got a score prediction before you go, Paul?
Oh, I'd go 5-0. Why not?
5-0. Why not?
It doesn't matter what I reckon, does it?
That's high scoring, that.
I don't know anything about football. There's no point in asking me.
And who do you think is going to score the 5 goals? Give us some players.
You know what? I'd love Hill to get a goal. I think that'd be brilliant if Hill got a goal. Maybe a couple. Son, a couple. And who else we got? Maybe a big, 40-yard screamer from Pape Matar Sarr. How about that?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Brilliant stuff, Paul. Thank you very much.
Just float Portsmouth back off in a little island with their bells into the English Channel. Off you go. You go.
Come on. Go by the seaside.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Thank you very much, Paul. You've been a fantastic guest, as
Thanks,
usual.
Man. Love being here.
We'll see you again very soon, I suspect.
No worries, man.
Lovely. You take care.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Soon.
See you, folks.
See you. Bye. Bye, Paul. Lovely. What a great guest. What a great guest there, Mia. So, do you want to read out the rest of the chats that have come in, Mia?
Right, okay. I was David Clark. I was a player manager and we won, but beating 4 Premiership Saturday sides, Leicester, and beat the Prem champions and FA Cup holders in the final. The next year we got knocked out in the first round. Yeah, that's what I said about the cup, isn't it? Like, the cup can be so unpredictable. You can beat really big players in one cup and then get knocked out the next time in the cup. So it's a really unpredictable cup to be in. That's why it's nice though, because it's that excitement of you don't just think, oh, a big team is definitely going to win it, because there can be upset. So I do like it.
And then we've got Derek Hutchinson saying Gil Messi and Moussa Sarr. I love that. Thank you, Derek. And there you go. David Clark saying, have you seen Alfie Devine? Alfie makes Gil look like Traore. Whoa. Do you know Alfie Devine? He's an interesting one, isn't he, Nia? Have you seen much of the player?
I've seen bits of him and I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'm a bit undecided with Alfie, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I think he has moments. Where he is good. But I just wonder if he's consistent. But we haven't really seen enough of him. That's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they won the Euros, didn't they, England? England under-18s, I think it was. They won the Euros.
No, he did.
So they've done very well there. And he showed his class in that tournament. So hopefully, he's going to mature in years to come and he'll be a star player for us. So we've got Stevie D saying, come on, Everton equalised. Well done, Everton.
No, they didn't. it got disallowed for offside.
Oh my God. You're more in the know than me, Mia, because I'm not watching that game. So we've got
Yeah, I'm
Andrew
watching
Gregory
it.
saying, nice one. So Andrew Gregory saying the best players are mentally and physically tough like Harry Kane. Very, very true. What do you think of that comment then, Mia?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's not just obviously physical. It has to be mentally strong as well. But the physical element obviously does factor in because you're easily pushed off the ball. It's not obviously it's not going to be good, especially in the Premier League, which is a very physical league.
Yeah, and we've got Stevie D saying, yeah, it was disallowed, and Dermatron and Phillips and Philip
Yep.
Brady all agreeing that it was disallowed. What a shame. Derek Hutchinson saying Gil Messi needs a good session in the gym on the weights. That's true. That is very true. And then we've got Derek
He needs
Hutchinson. Gone.
he needs a Rocky style montage. No, when he's like building up his muscle, punching a few bags, doing a few skips.
He's got to think it's like Pep Guardiola in front of him, and punch his lights out. Do you know what? Because Pep Guardiola is one of those managers that he gets on my nerves. Because like when the Harry Kane debacle, when he's like tapping our player up and everything like that, I think that's disgusting what he did. It's not a very good thing that he did, trying to get Harry Kane away from us, and then he's playing it cool afterwards. What do you think of Pep Guardiola? Do you think he was a bit underhand doing that?
Yeah, no, he is underhand and he's quite arrogant. I'm not a fan of his as in the person he is. I'm not a very big fan of the way. I don't like him particularly.
Yeah,
Not gonna
true.
lie.
Yeah, true. Now we've got a few more chats. Aussie weren't big in era when game was more physical. If you've got it, you've got it. True. Because Ozzy Ardiles, he used to put his hands out to ward off the players, and he was a very clever player. I mean, he would be brilliant now. Even now, he would be brilliant. It doesn't matter about his physicality, his size. He's had the skill, the boy. So what we want to do now is bring on our next guest, and we've got Carl waiting in the background. Here we go. Here he goes. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Right,
Hello.
how are you tonight, Carl?
I'm good.
You're good. Well done. And are you looking forward to tomorrow's match?
I am looking forward to it.
Are you going to go to the match as well, Carl?
No, I haven't got tickets. Tickets sold out. But I'll be in a pub watching it. Is it on TV or something?
Yeah, I think it's going to
it's
be
on TV.
Yeah. It'll be
What channel is it on?
Probably
BBC, I think.
BBC One.
Yeah, BBC One.
BBC One have got the thing. So should we open up? Like, we'll ask you a few questions here, Carl. Who do you think should be rested for the match tomorrow?
Probably. I think Zinedine Thorstberg, as Dave calls Zinedine Thorstberg.
Yeah, my man Højbjerg.
Yeah.
He needs a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does, because then he'll come back stronger in the league as well. And is there any other players you feel that should be rested tomorrow?
I don't think so, because we haven't got any other option up front. If Kulu's out, which I hope he's not going to be out for this game, would love to see him playing the FA Cup. Would love to see him playing it. He didn't play last year, obviously. But I think Højbjerg and Lloris are the only two I think would need a rest. But yeah, I expect the fourth to start. But Kane and Son are likely to start because we ain't got no other option up top. So
not really,
they're gonna Richarlison out as well.
I don't think Kulu's going to be available either, is he? So
Sure. I don't. Yeah. Paul, big up, Paul. Big up.
That's true. What's your first memories of the FA Cup then, Carl? Tell us about the first time you saw that silver trophy shining and what you thought about it.
come on. I hope so. FA Cup 1991 against the Filth. That Paul Gascoigne free kick. Like, that's my memory of the bye. Yeah. When that was my first memory of the FA Cup when he scored that stunning free kick and the
Nice.
Wembley was rocking then and Tottenham fans were going absolutely wild when that free kick went in and like that's my memory of it and beating Nottingham Forest as well in the final. Stuart Pearce scored the first goal for Nottingham Forest and then 2-1. Like say the semi-final against Arsenal was my first memory. Yeah, of
Yeah.
the FA Cup. So
Oh my God.
we were winning it every time until they decided to win it every time. But this is our time. They
Cheek.
won it. They won it 3 years ago. This is our time. They can forget
Yeah.
about winning it. They're not going to win it for a 15th time because there's no way that's going to happen. So we're winning
Yeah.
it this time. 9 times this will be, and I just want to win it.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
with you on that one.
yeah. I
Anything
want
you
to
like
win
to ask Carl, Mia?
So as far as the FA Cup goes, like, what are you looking forward to? Like, obviously, I'd said that it's an exciting for me because any cup, anybody can win it. Really, I know the bigger teams tend to win it, but in the knockout rounds, there's always like a few like surprises, which is always fun, isn't it, to see the surprises that can happen. So, what do you think? Like, what's your favorite part of the FA Cup?
it. I'd say favorite part. Um, oh God. I'd probably say the quarters. Like I want to get there, and I would probably say, yeah, get all the way to win it. So I'd probably say the quarters. Like
Yeah.
I hate losing semi-finals. I hate losing that. Lost to Chelsea when Conte was there. Then lost to Mourinho the next season. Like we go 1-0 up, and then teams, the big teams, come back and beat us. I just don't want us to lose because we've lost to Palace a few times in the FA Cup. We lost at White Hart Lane when Leicester won the league. Like
Yeah.
we lost, yeah, 1-0 2016. Like I believe they beat Watford and got to the final, but unfortunately lost to Man United. Pardew's doing a funny dance when they equalised, and he always does funny celebrations, Alan Pardew. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll probably say, yeah, that's my favourite
That
part. But
wavy dance.
yeah, Pardew, yeah, doing it
That was
against
fun.
Man United. Yeah, I watched it because I went to a friend's prom. Then I was out during that time. But yeah, a great win tomorrow would be nice to shush Daniel Levy because he's the problem. We haven't been winning anything for a long time, and he's the problem. And get him out. Everyone wants him out. I want him out. And yeah, if we win it, then we can shut up Arsenal fans who are saying that bottle jobs. They're bottle jobs. They call us that every time we don't win anything. Like it just pisses me off. Like I hate when they call us that. They always keep typing no trophies on Twitter, Instagram, and every other platform. So
Yeah.
if we win it this time, then like where's their European trophies? They haven't won one. We won it before they did. So to all those Arsenal fans, shut your mouths because you ain't gonna win the league. Like we'll just stop them. They bottled top four last year, and we'll just beat them again at home because we
That's
always
right.
beat them there.
You
Kane
said
loves the
it
North
well.
London derby. Son does. So,
Yeah.
and I probably agree with Son. He can't see the ball if he's wearing a mask because, like, you need to wear a better mask. Like the one Kane wore was different colour, so the black ones probably ain't good. But if you can't see the ball, then why wear it? I would never wear a mask. I would never wear it. If I had an injury,
Yeah.
I would not wear it. But maybe take it off, Son, because I know his family's worried. But don't listen. Just don't wear it. Like,
Bit
yeah,
impede his play. But
Yeah.
obviously he's got to protect his face. But I'll
Yeah.
get your point. I'll get your point. But I mean, in terms of Spurs looking forward, what would you like to see in terms of the transfers? Because we've been linked with quite a few players. Who would you like to see come in, Carl?
Who would I like to see? Like, I'd probably say, what, Pedro Porro, the former City man. I know they've got the
Yeah,
option buyout clause, but nah. Like, I'd like him to come. And there's stuff going around. We've been linked with a former academy graduate, Marcus Edwards, who scored
yeah,
against us. Like, I don't want him back, even though apparently Sporting have said it will cost 75 million to bring both. But we let him go in 2019, unfortunately, like to Portugal. So 75 million to get him back. No thanks. Pedro
yeah,
Porro only, please. But like, yeah, as I said on Dave's channel, if Kulu was to get injured, then I'd probably bring Marcus back. But nah, like it looks like we're gonna block the loan deal for Hill. Like he had a brilliant
yeah.
game. Second,
He
the,
did.
the assist for Kane's second goal, like world class finish. So
Yeah,
looks like we don't need, but we do need another attacker, not just having Hill, because if they do get injured, then we're basically screwed with no attackers. So do need another attacker other than just Hill playing. Like don't know who else there is with Kane, Son, Cooley, Richarlison, and Hill. Like we need another attacker. Like
yeah,
anyone name one who you'd want, then let us know. But Pedro Porro, yeah, I definitely want. And like it looks like we can list the offers for Emerson Chicken Royale. Like he can. I don't want him in a shirt. I don't want to see him wearing that shirt again. Like he got involved in a little competition with Conte and one of his coaching staff. Like that's why we didn't play against Brentford and Villa. So you can
Oh,
say
right.
goodbye to the
That's
club, kid.
interesting.
Yeah.
So you got inside knowledge there, Carl.
I do.
You got the
Yeah.
fly on the wall bit.
We're gonna call you ITK KPV. That's what we're gonna have to call
Yeah,
you from now on.
ITKKVP.
Yeah.
You
So,
have to have a lie down
um,
after that, didn't you?
yeah, I do. So I'll be watching the game tomorrow, and hopefully Kane can
Yeah,
break Jimmy Greaves' record because he
yeah,
wants to break it. But imagine the scenes he scores a hat trick in a North London derby, then
lovely, lovely.
yeah, the Arsenal fans are gonna cry. Like I
Yeah,
said it on Dave's channel, and they will cry because he always scores. So imagine he scores a hat trick, then Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will be walking as it was last season. Like
true.
and but hopefully Arsenal get another red card if Holding does the same to Son on his face. Like Rob Holding done that already to Son's face already. This
Yeah.
and Holding him like not good. I still don't like Arsenal on there. I can't stand them. So they've got
We all
Oxford on
know that.
Monday
We all know
away.
that.
So
Do you know
Oxford
what?
losing. Yeah, I
Do
can't
you know
stand
what,
those.
KPV? What I would say is if Holding goes near his face, then he better watch out because I reckon Son's dad's going to be after him if he goes near his face after what's happened to
Yeah.
his face lately. I think his dad will go crazy if that happened.
You can run
So
on the pitch.
hopefully he probably will
Yeah.
run
Yeah,
on the pitch.
yeah, like
So, Carl, what's your
yeah.
score predictions for tomorrow? What do you think the score's going to be, and who do you think is going to be the scorers?
Oh God, 3-1 United, game over.
It's a shame,
I'm
isn't it?
gonna double the odds. I'm gonna double people's odds and go 7-0.
7-0.
Blimey.
Oh, we're
We
getting
scored
better and
7
better
to
with
2.
every fan.
Yeah,
7-0.
7-0, man. The goal scorers. Brian Hill, I'd love him to get one.
Yes. Go on,
Kane,
Brian.
obviously, Son, and maybe who else have we got there? Doherty again, the Irish Cafu.
Oh, Dermot trying to be happy with that one. And
The
Philip.
Irish Cafu, yeah, on the score
Yeah,
sheet again. So, yeah, I'll be watching tomorrow, people. So, and don't let us down again, because we've just got back to winning ways, and conceding a first goal is what we've been doing in 9 or 10 games, but that is over. So tomorrow, boys, and fortunately, Scarlett can't play because he's on loan, and when players go on loan to different clubs, you can't play. Chelsea let Mount and Tamori play against them in the FA Cup a couple of years ago, but you can't play if you're on loan at a new club. So, but fortunately, it just can't happen. But yeah, so let's get the win tomorrow. Then we have Arsenal and Man City. So City, we're coming for you. We have their number. We're
Come
their
on.
bogey team. So yeah, get the win tomorrow. Then bring on the North London derby, and we've got City afterwards. So
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
yeah,
KPP, as usual, your brilliant self. Who let the dogs out? KVP did, and thank you very much for all that good banter. And you take care. We'll get the
yeah,
win for you tomorrow,
yeah.
Carl.
And I'll
All
see
right,
you
mate.
next Friday.
Big up.
And as always, Levy out, everyone in.
Thank you, Carl. Take
No,
care. Have a lovely
Take
evening.
care.
have a lovely
What a great
evening.
man. What a great man. Right, let's pick up on the chat there. So we got what we're about here, aren't we? There we go. So no, we've done that one. I think David Clark, don't touch heads with a barge pole. He was kicked out of our academy because he was a disruptive player. He scored against us, but the ESPN pundit said the rest of his season was average at best. Do you know what, David? I want to comment on that, because players get to mature, right? I mean, he was a young lad, right? I watched him as a young lad as well, and I thought he was excellent. I used to go with my brother Boo, and he was disrupted. That is right. He was a bit of a party boy. Everybody knows that, and there's lots of rumours going around when we loaned him out to Norwich as well. They weren't too impressed with him. So, but he's had, you get a second chance in life sometimes, and he's got a point to prove. If he came back, would it be good? You never know, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But one thing, he has matured, and his manager at Sporting Lisbon seems to like him because he's quite a regular player there. I mean, what's your take on that, Mia? What do you think?
I think we've been stung before. Like, we've seen like how Dele Alli behaved, and he didn't we thought, oh, maybe he'll come back, he'll be all right, but he didn't. So for me, I agree with David. I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. I think that when you've got a genuinely bad attitude, I don't think that goes. I think you can be a bit more mature, but you can still have a bad attitude. And if you've got that attitude, I think that will not do well in the team. I really don't. And apparently he's been partying now. He's been going out apparently partying and getting himself into a bit of, not trouble, but not being a model, like a role model for youngsters when it comes to being a footballer. Let's just say that much. So I just feel like, no, I don't want him. If that's the way he's going to be, that's not the kind of person that we want at the club.
Yeah, I get your point now. I just feel like he could come good. He just needs to mature a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, but he's still, how old is he now? How much more mature?
24,
24, 25. He should have matured by now. He's not a kid.
We know that, Mia. We know.
But if he doesn't by now, then he's not going to, in my opinion, because he's 25.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a young player. If you think about Harry Kane at 25, like,
it was a fish,
I know it's different, but obviously you've got to think of other players at 25. Look at Kulusevski. He's younger. Kulusevski's younger, and look how mature that boy is. Look how mature he is. That's the sort of player you want as young.
It's how serious you take your football as well. Like, if you've got to make sacrifices when you're a footballer. You can't be that party animal going out each night, because it tires your body. I mean, George Best was the prime example of a party boy, but he had a splendid career. I'm not saying Marcus Edwards could hit the heights of George Best, but I think he deserves another chance. Somebody needs to get hold of him. I said this yesterday, that Conte could be the man that shaped him up, you know, because he's done a lot of good with a lot of average sort of players. Now, we know Marcus Edwards has got the talent, the boy. Even Pochettino said that he was like Messi-like. So, do you know what? This Messi-like thing is bandied around too much, I think. But I don't know. I watched him as a young boy, and he's got talent, the boy. So it'd be
Yeah, but
nice.
it's not.
It'd
It's
be
about.
nice to see him back.
I wouldn't want him. No, it's about application, man. If he hasn't got the application to do it, he's already old enough that he shouldn't need for somebody to shake him by now. If he wants to be a professional, if you want to be at the best of your ability at the job that you do not mess about, because you F around and you find out. And when you do that, you lose the ability to become that big player, and that's on you. If you haven't got that attitude, that's a you problem, and I believe that's what his problem is. It's a him problem, because he hasn't got that attitude. He hasn't grown up yet. He's still going out partying at 25. He doesn't take his football serious if that's how he's going to behave. Like, he's got the opportunity.
I get your point. I get your point, Mia. Yeah, I'll get your point. I just feel that maybe Conte would be the one who could shape him up, because sometimes a player needs like a father figure, somebody to put their hand around them, look, shape up or ship out. You know, it's going to be his last call, really, because that Sporting Lisbon, he's not going to set the world alight, is he? Because they're a club that's got good tradition, but they're not the top club even in Portugal, are they? So. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. You know, we've got differences of opinion. That's what makes the football world go round, isn't it, Mia?
Of course.
So,
and I respect that you've got a different opinion, Ellie. I'm not. I mean, I would never be disrespectful.
As well. I respect your opinion. So we've got Derek Hutchinson saying Arsenal are bottle jobs. I like that saying. I like it. Keep them coming. And then we got
every gunner's a runner.
Every gunner's a runner. Now we've got David Clark making a good point here. If Joe Lewis wanted Spurs to spend big money on players, then he would have sacked Levy as chairman with the backing of the directors, but he hasn't, so Lewis doesn't want big money spent by the club. Right? Yeah? And then Dermatron saying, THFC, David, Joe Lewis is an old man. He left Spurs in the hands of Levy. Yeah, it's true. The thing is, you have to leave the club in the hands of somebody, right? And the chairman is the top dog, so he's going to call the shots at the end of the day. But do you think Conte might have turned his head? Do you reckon Conte might have been the neck, and that he's going to get his own way at the club and build this successful club that everybody's hoping that he can?
I think it has to be. It can be done, but it has to be done their way, and that's the problem, isn't it? If it conflicts with what Conte wants. But I strongly believe that Conte is not someone to sit down and shut up. So if he isn't happy, he'll just walk away, and then Joe Lewis and Levy are going to get a hell of a lot of stick from the fans. So although some fans don't want Conte, this is a bit of like a Joe situation where some fans don't want Conte. So if he goes, then some fans will be happy, but other fans won't be happy and say it's all on Levy and Joe Lewis for like not backing him and giving him what he wants. Of course, that's the case, because he won't just sit down and be quiet about it. If he's not happy, he'll just go, see you later, bye-bye. He don't care. So I think that Joe, I will say, and people are going to go, oh, you're a Levy lover. It's not that. But as a person personally, I feel like that Joe Lewis, I know he's an old man, but he doesn't get enough stick. Levy gets all the stick, but as you said, Joe Lewis is the one that actually gives the yes or no's. He's the one who's truly in charge of it. And whoever he's got to be in charge of it is the person that tells Levy. And because Levy doesn't own all, he's not a majority holder, is he? It's Joe Lewis. So a lot of people get onto Levy, but actually, should we not be looking a little bit higher up if we're going to blame some people as well in Joe Lewis and the board? But I don't know, but that's just me.
Well, you've made a fair point there. Wilton McDonald's says, my memory is the 67 final watching Dave Barrel Chest Mackay lifting the cup. Yes, Wilton. You know what? We always love your comments, Wilton, because you're throwback to the 1960s team, which was our best time in our glorious history. You know, it's always lovely reminiscing, isn't it, Mia, about that 60s
Yeah,
time.
of
I know
course.
you're younger. I know you're younger than us, right? But other people must have told you about the 60s side.
Yeah,
And
no, of course.
obviously, me and Dermatron and Philip, we always harp on about the 60s team because that was our best time, right? Now we got David Clark. No, he didn't. Joe Lewis put his family trust in the hands of 2 lawyers in the event of his death. He has no bearing over the control over Tottenham HOTSPUR FC until after his death. Well, the thing is, he's been in charge before. So even before he passed it to the lawyers, he was in charge. Like Mia made a good point. You know, a lot of the blame is put on Levy, but no heat on Lewis really, because he's sitting on his yacht in Bahamas. So you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, because at the end of the day, right, these men are in charge of our football club. We might not like it, but they're in charge, and you know they have to make decisions, good or bad. And they're never going to please everybody, are they, Mia? They're never going to
No,
please.
that's it. It's because some of it is subjective. So if it's everything that we think, like we can think about the club, a lot of it is subjective. So therefore, you can't please all of the people all of the time. But do you think it's time to get Corey boy? Bless him, he's been waiting in the back very patiently.
He's been waiting, and it's Corey boy. Good evening, Corey. Happy New Year
evening,
to
guys.
you.
Coming
like
from
Good evening.
coming
back
from our
up
new
there.
forever home, so
Yeah.
my son's bedroom at the moment. So yeah, I mean,
looking good.
a lot of
Yeah.
what some of the guys have been saying. I mean, it's not just on Joe Lewis here. There's 3 guys that own our club,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's about time all 3 of them start putting their hand in their pockets or sell. That's the way I look at it. In all the years that they've owned us, they've never truly put their hands in their pockets and gone, right, here's a war chest. It's always been through Enix company that some money's leaked down somehow, and that's how we've got players. But now with the stadium being able to turn over all these new venues like boxing, I'm a massive NFL fan anyway, so I go all the time whenever I can, when I've not got little man and missus isn't at work, and when all that isn't going on, I normally go out with all my mates, you know. Even some of my old teammates at the Sussex Thunder, you know, when I used to play American football for them, so we'd go up and, you know, 2-3 games a season. Before it was at our new stadium, you know, going to Wembley. Now it's at White Hart Lane. It feels a bit more homely to me to be able to go to that part of London, not Wembley. So it's always nice.
Yeah, true. And you were a goalkeeper, weren't you, Corey?
Yeah, I ruptured my ACL, ECL, and broke my knee all in one tackle. So I come flying off the line to catch the ball 6-yard line. There's my knee. This is my leg. This is the guy's foot. My leg kind of went like this. So my leg turned one way, my knee went the other, and that was the end of it.
We feel for you there. So, Corey, who do you think should be rested for this game?
I mean, we've got a team of 25, 26 players. How can we not rotate a team? All right, we haven't got another all-out striker because Richie's out. But then there's got to be a young kid I can't remember the young kid's name that we went out and brought and got in the academy. You know. Portsmouth aren't the team they are anymore. You know, when they were in the Premier League, they were a bit of a tricky team, but now they're 2 leagues below us and sitting in 13th, I think it is.
Yeah.
They've scored 29, conceded 27. Why not rest some of the first team and give some of the fringe players or even some of the youth players a shout? You know, how are these guys going to get minutes to learn their trade if they're not given the chance to flourish and play?
It's true. And in the League Cup, we didn't hardly rest any players, but yet we got crashed out of that cup. So, you know, we got beaten 2-0. So, I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to rest players, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a mix, I think, you know, half and half, you know.
But then who is that half? I mean, we got Forster, didn't we, as a goalkeeper? He hasn't played for us yet, I don't think.
Yeah. As a goalkeeper, Corey, what do you think of Lloris's performances so far this season?
This season, it's been a bit shaky, really. He's been up, then he's been down, then he's sat in a borderline in the middle. He can't really do much with that defence in front of him apart from Romero. You know, it's just, what can you do when you haven't got defenders in front of you? I mean, I was lucky enough to go through the youth ranks with some solid defenders as a kid. So it all comes down to, I know the goalkeeper is the last part of defence, but you need defenders in front of you to know that you can trust your back four as well as you know, the whole back unit, the defenders, the goalkeeper, they have to be trusted. And in Dyer, I can't trust the guy. Davis, no. Sanchez, no. These players were around when Poch was here, and he didn't even play them then. So why are they playing now? Because they've got no other options. And as soon as Toby and we started losing our backline, when Kyle Walker went, when Danny Rose, you know, bless the guy, to have like depression and all that running through. I know that too well, the depression side of it, having a severe injury as well as I did. But like the depression side of it does play on you, and then it leaks into your game, and he's not performing well and stuff like that. And I do feel for Danny Rose on that, but our whole backline should have been sorted out at the time Toby and everybody else was leaving, you know? We've had so many top quality players leave us on such a good amount of money, like being sold off for. How have we not? I know we're supposed to be in the top 10 richest clubs in Europe. Why aren't we acting like one of the top 10 richest clubs in Europe and going, right, Pedro Porro, they want 38, 40 million. Stop haggling for 3-4 million, David. Just pay the money. Marcus Edwards, I can't bring the guy back, in my honest opinion. The guy had so many chances and blew them. His attitude and the application wasn't right for a professional player. Especially with like Dele Alli as well. He became too involved in playing Fortnite and streaming. So, you know, I feel sorry for Dele Alli. He got sucked into the world of online gaming like all of us tend to after a big injury or something like that.
Yeah, true. So, who would you like to see come in? Because the transfer market is open. We haven't
been
signed
open 5 days, hardly linked to anyone apart from Pedro Porro and Marcus Edwards. We keep seeing Guardiol, but could you really see David Levy spending 80-90 million on a top-class centre world back when you've got the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea all probably want him? You know, teams above us in the picking order. Why would you want to look across at us and go, okay, I'll go to Tottenham? The only way he would come to Tottenham is if Conte's staying and something drastic happens, like we sell. I can't see us spending this big amount of money on these expensive, luscious players, you know? I think I read a stat the other day. The most we have spent on any given player transfer-wise in about 8 to 10 years is probably around 29.5 million per player. And we spent close to like £480 million on 17 players in a short amount of time. And half of these players haven't even cut it. You know, Endon Burgers, for instance, he's gone out on loan, cost us 65 million, and he wants to stay there. Sell him. Just go, give us a tenner, right? He's off the books.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I understand Sorry, Corey. I understand your point. But obviously, sometimes it's all well and good saying in hindsight about certain players, because now we've got the greatness of having hindsight. There's players that we've got that people did want and say they're really good, and then obviously now in hindsight we could see that Endon Belle's was a bit lazy, or you know that he just wasn't good enough. So sometimes I think we have to be a bit careful because money has
passion.
Yeah. So I think that sometimes it's all well and good saying that now in hindsight is what I'm saying. So it's not like players haven't been bought and we haven't thought, that's a good player. It's just in hindsight. But I understand other players have been bought that have not been good enough. I completely get that as well. So I think sometimes you just have to be like, think about it in like a bit more balanced way, because it's all well and good saying it now because we know better, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's like with the money we got from Gareth Bale. I think out of those 4 or 5 players we signed off the back of Bale, one of them was actually decent. One of them had to go off to China to prove himself to end back up in La Liga. And the other 3 just faded into obscurity. And then they look at Brian Gill and they say about how he needs to bulk up. Yes, he does. But then we look back at Luka Modric. When he first come to the Premier League and joined us, he wasn't this strong running engine that
I know.
we see him out to be, you know. And then when he left us, he actually become this world-class controlling defensive midfield player that, you know, even at 37 years old, I'd welcome Modric back with open arms. Like, come on, mate.
Yeah.
One last hurrah, come back to us. We need that kind of player in the team, where an old hat that can teach these young kids what the aptitude of being a player like Modric is. A world-class player.
Yeah. I mean,
we haven't got a lot of leaders in the club. We really haven't.
No. I think we've got a lot of players in midfield, much of the muchness. I think we need a bit of creativity from the midfield. Someone who can pin a pass, someone who can cut open a defence, to put their foot on the ball and control the midfield. Bentancur started doing it, and then he got injured in the World Cup. It would have been nice to see him. We would have pushed on even better. I thought. I don't think Villa would have beaten us if Benny was in there, especially Cooley. Cooley's the sort of player I think he could fit into that cam role. You know,
he could fit in behind Kane easily. He's got the talent to do that. Cooley. Yeah. I mean, also as a Brighton lad, Basuma, he has not been given the chance. You know, the kid has talent, and it's just not been given the chance to really flourish. Basuma, I feel sorry for the lad, and Brighton are missing a player like him.
Yeah. So you're saying like chopping and changing.
Like, with Brighton, he was settled in his position. You know, there was him, McAllister, and I can't think of Pascal Gross. They were midfield three, if you would, you know, to say that. But as soon as you took Basuma out of that Brighton team, Brighton had to scramble to find someone else. But I am Tottenham first, don't get me wrong. I am a Brighton boy as well. I've been to see Brighton play a million times because, you know, I can't afford 200-300 quid to come up to London anymore.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the FA Cup, Corey, what are you saying about it? Like, do you remember your first FA Cup?
First FA Cup game was that Gaza free kick. My granddad and my uncle took me and my cousin up to go and watch it. So I've got that fond memory up here and in here as well. So being a 5-6-year-old boy, you know, you're like, yeah, with your Tottenham shirt running around the stadium like a lunatic. You know, me and my cousin running into each other with our T-shirts on, getting picked up by these. I remember these two big, bald Tottenham supporters. Yeah, you lads are going to be proper North Enders when you're up here. Up you get, boys. You know, and then they bought me and my cousin a Coke each. My granddad and my uncle like, yeah, cheers, lads. And then they went and had a drink with them after the match. And we were sitting in the pub like, hey, there's all these dudes around, 6 years old, in a pub in the middle of like nowhere.
It's like you get your manly intuition, don't you? Yeah. When you're a 6-year-old kid, you know, it's nice because you're looking up to all these people, right, who take you to the football as well. And then you've got all these other dudes about and girls as well. You know, they're all supporting Spurs, and it's a magical day when you get the semi-final against Arsenal. You couldn't wish for anything better to beat your North London rivals in the semi-final.
Anytime we beat Arsenal is a case for me to want to go and get a 6-pack down the shop, open them all up and drink them as quick as I can, and then run around the street in just my boxer shorts. But that's another story.
That's another story.
So what do you think the score will be anyway when we in the FA Cup for tomorrow?
I really want to see a rested team, but I'd be happy with 2-0, 2-1. Just a rested team. Go into it against Arsenal with everybody, you know, I think it's about 9 days after, or about a week after we play Portsmouth, we play Arsenal. But I want to see those lads rested. I want to see them coming out at Arsenal flying like we did. I know it's only Palace, and being a Brightoner, we're brought up to hate Palace, but also hate Arsenal more. Yeah, that game for me, 4-0, reflected on pretty much from what I saw, a piss poor performance from Palace.
Yeah. What do you think of Paul's point here, Corey? He says that we, you know, if we'd spent some money but let the manager decide on transfers and kept a manager for any length of time, we would be far stronger team. The boardroom don't understand football.
The boardroom don't. The two guys are lawyers, and Joe Lewis is a shop mogul, doesn't he? He owns all this. He's got all this money in his bank. You need a football brain in the board, to be honest with you. Our director of football currently being investigated by the Italians again for the 5th time. Conte. I mean, if you got rid of Conte, who next? Who else you go down this list? What, Rafa? What's Rafa doing? Rafa comes in, doesn't get bagged, he gets chucked out. The next big manager comes in, gets chucked out. And we walked away from Poch 4 years ago. What is the point of going back to Poch? It's like going back to an ex-girlfriend. You don't run with your tail between your legs and go, "Oh, please, darling." You know, you don't run back to them.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
as much as we all love Poch, that was our time in the sun under Poch. We became that team, what we were missing for about 10, 15 years. Poch came along, sorted us out. We were like tickety-boo with the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
We had players in every position to do something.
Played some nice football as well, didn't we?
And one of the key things I'd love to see us do is go out and sign another Dembele, another midfield maestro like that.
Yeah.
And put him next to a Bentancur or Højbjerg,
so that leads me
in the mold.
So that leads me to my next question then, Corey. So transfers, who would you bring in if it was down to you?
I've got a long list of players I want in, a long list of
I mean,
players I want out.
Okay, give me a quick realistic.
It depends. If I was a manager and the board said to me, right, this is your budget. We've only got 70 million until the summer. Right, what are my options? Right, looking across the team right now, our biggest weakness is right wing back, centre back.
Yeah.
Need another cover for Kane, but then players like in Kane's mould are going to cost you upwards of 200 million, aren't they? So that would be off the thing. I would literally be like, right, Levy, I don't care. Give me the 45 million to go and get Pedro Porro. Then go out and sell Royale because the guy's stealing a living at Tottenham. He's great in defence, but he gets lost once he goes past the halfway line. I can't have that in Conte's system because you have to be fluid going forward and backwards in a Conte system as a wing back.
Yeah. He's like
I would look at centre back. I mean, as a Brighton lad, I'd bring in Lewis Dunk because he's quality. People that overlook Lewis Dunk are just silly. The guy is solid, and he has proven that since he come up from the youth team, Dunk. So he was a Lewis-born lad, so he come through the system. So, you know, I'm a Brighton lad. I came through the system, but, you know, everything went tits up for me. But then I look across, so you want a creative player, don't we? So we want someone along the terms like a Maddison. But I've been saying for months, since the start of the season, on another guy's channel, go and get Alec McAllister from Brighton. He's a World Cup winner now. The guy is going to be stolen from Brighton this transfer window. Someone's going to go, there you go, there's 70 million.
Then Ramiro's got someone to banter with in the dressing room. Medals. Here's our medals, lads.
Look at our World Cup winning medal. Run up to like Luke. Look at our medal, boy.
Yeah.
The shithousery there between them guys must be so much fun. But then we need to start looking at our long-term replacement in goal. Hugo, I love him. He's a shot stopper, but he can't play with his feet. So there's the young lad at Genk that comes straight to my mind, Van der Voot. I can't pronounce his name properly, but he's 6'5", 6'6", around my height. Young, athletic, quick, great with his feet, and he's a fantastic shot stopper. So that is who I'd go out and replace Hugo with.
That's one I've not heard.
Good shout.
Good shout.
Well, it's been great having you on, Corey. We're going to wrap it up there. So,
cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody. I know
great
it's 5 days late.
To you.
Ladies.
Happy New Year.
Oh, brilliant by Corey Boy there. Yeah. So basically, do you want to carry on with the chat, Mia? Because a few more chats.
I think we're gonna. Yep, right. So David Clark says, our scouting setup has been tragic for decades. Regarding Ndombele, it was unexcusable. They didn't even interview his last two coaches. There's videos out there showing his coaches destroying him. Nice. Well, the thing is, like, again, it's all good and saying it in hindsight. And obviously, if he would have turned out good, then obviously you would have said, oh, well, them videos weren't true. So again, it's just, you know, we didn't know. So I don't think we knew as fans is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, it is what it is and it's done. So I just don't think, like, dwelling on that past is the point. Like, there's just no point. All the big blokes need... used to pass little kids down to the front of the shelf. Magic days. Oh,
That's it.
yeah.
I would pass
Love
down
that.
with a little girl as well in that shelf side, because I was a shelf side girl actually with my brothers. So it was really good in the shelf side. Probably the best singing side at Spurs that I've ever seen, even better than the Park Lane. That might be a bit controversial, but I think we were better singers. And then we've got Peter M saying, I'd be happy with any win. FA Cup is unpredictable. Remember how we struggled against Newport a few seasons ago? Yeah, I remember that. Just about beat them. I think Harry Kane scored, didn't he? Yeah. David Clark saying nobody knew Modric when he came to Spurs. He made himself a world-class player. That's true.
Yep. Sorry, the dog's right near me. She keeps snoring. She's right near my legs. I keep pushing her away. She keeps coming back to me. I feel really guilty pushing her away.
She's getting angry with you, Mia. Pushing her
She's
away.
like, how dare you?
And we've got David Clark saying, sadly, we're going to have to wait until Joe passes his ownership over to his daughter, who is a crazy Spurs fan, then things may change. Well, we hope so, David. We really do hope so. Then Peter M saying, yes, the false one to say dunk. I have fought this for so long. Yeah, you know what? He's a good professional, isn't he? He's a very good professional. He'll always give 100%, just put it that way. And then we've got Peter M saying, why don't we get the Brighton squad and manager? We'll do it then. The thing is, we're above Brighton, so we're doing something better, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got David Clark. I'm from Leicester, and the rumours are going around that Maddison may be sold because he's not playing tomorrow, but he's injured. I don't think Leicester will risk being relegated in selling him. Well, I don't think they'll be relegated anyway, David, because they're too good a team. You know, they're better than 3 other teams, put it that way, not to go down. What do you think about that, Mia?
I don't think there's a risk of Leicester getting relegated. I'm going to be honest. I really don't. But they're not going to be. See, for a little while, we always thought, oh, look, Leicester up there with with the bigger boys. They're up there. But I don't think they're going to do that again. I think their time has gone for that. I think they're not. I think they're going to become like a mid-table team, if I'm honest.
And Peter says, I hear your dog growling. That's it. He's a good dog, though. She's a good dog, isn't she? She's good. Yeah.
She's a good girl. She's a more like lazy, relaxed one, where Ozzy's the crazy one because he's younger, so he's the one that's mad.
So, what we do? We'll call that a day, Mia, and thank you for everyone for coming on. It's been a fantastic show. We've had some brilliant comments coming in, and thank you all for in the chat that you put your honesty into those comments as well. And Mia, what would you like to say?
Please don't forget to hit the like if you haven't already. Subscribe, and if you can, I know it's a bit hardships at the moment, but if you can get yourself a membership, they're not. We've got them at quite a low price to start with, the starting point, because we do understand that it is hard times, but it would really help the show and the channel if you could just, if you could just spare us that little bit of money to get that membership. It would mean a lot to all of us.
Yeah,
and also,
go on.
Also, thank you to Nick again for sponsoring us. Obviously,
behind everything, isn't he?
And Dermot has put my channel in the comments as well. So if anyone wants to subscribe to me, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it, because I'm on 79, so I need one more to 80, and then when I get to 100, I'm going to be doing my own live stream for the first time. So that's my aim.
Spurs between the lines. Come on, let's all support Maria. Come on, get over there and subscribe, guys, and hit that like button as well. She's well worth the watch. She's a fantastic lady, and she's always honest. She always gives her honest opinion. And she's always open to, other people's views as well. She will never disrespect you.
Of course not.
A lovely trait to have. Great stream, ladies. Thank you very much, Derek Hutchison, and big up yourself as well. Okay, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, everybody, and we'll see you in our next broadcast. everybody, thank you very much, and a happy new year to all of you. You take
And
care.
come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.